We're back. We're cracking. We're lacking. We're never lacking. We're never slacking. Big bracking. I'm flacking. No Flacco. Joe Flacco.
Don't
Crapo.
don't start rapping.
I was
Oh
rapping
my
right
God.
now.
That was
I
terrible.
bored.
That
Yeah,
was
you're right.
great.
You're
It all
All right.
connected.
Top
I
5
don't even think
Lancaster
Like
rapper.
perfect uniform.
I think SoundCloud would have dropped that.
No, that is the next poetry type
Poetry.
archetype. I'm
You
the
just
next
said-
archetype.
You just said slacking. Something else. We're not
Slack-
slacking. Never slacking.
You
just contradicted
slacking.
yourself
We
about
aren't
2.5
slacking.
lines in.
I mean, first choice fantasy is full of rappers. Let's be real, right?
Rappers.
I am not a rapper.
Curly O'Brien. Don't hide your
I can barely
Yeah.
speak regular sentences, let alone rapping.
Let's speak regular sentences about football now with the AFC Conference wide receiver rankings. So
Fine.
let's dive into this.
I said, baby, I am not the one to play with. Ain't the type to give up, I'm driven and motivated. I just want some recognition and some compensation. But this ain't about the money and it ain't about the fame. I got lightning in a bottle, I think I just found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out. Lightning in a bottle, I think I just found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out.
Tyreek Hill number 1, unanimous. Duh. Like
That's it. Everybody.
duh. Everybody go home. Tyler Boyd number 2 for me. Big bold. I don't know if I like that. I had so much contemplation. I contemplated too many moving parts, and it was
So
like a
did I.
machine in my head. I had Tyler Boyd at like 5 at one point. I had Juju Smith at 2. Now Tyler Boyd's at 2. And yeah, Tyler Boyd's my 2 just because I think Joe Burrow's going to pepper him, you know. This is Joe Burrow. This is Tyler Boyd right here.
I think that guy was doing salt, but all right.
But he's salting him straight. Salt.
There we go.
Pink Himalayan salt. So, Tyler Boyd number 2. Joe Burrow, slot receiver, rookie wide receiver, rookie quarterbacks, slot receivers. They go hand in hand. So Tyler Boyd's going to propel. He's going to go crazy up the charts, and that's why I'm at 2. Let's hear about Keenan Allen for Alex for number 2.
I don't think a rookie quarterback and or Tyrod Taylor is going to diminish Keenan Allen's abilities.
That's fair.
And like he thrives in the part of the field that any NFL quarterback should be able to find a guy. So
Valid.
I mean, Rivers was horseshit last year, and Allen still had an
he still
excellent
produced.
season. So I don't really
Yeah,
think
well.
the quarterback argument is too much. And a lot of these other guys are very boom or bust. So why not just take the consistency?
You're not wrong. I agree with that on the boom and bust side of things. Now,
Is Keenan
Brandon.
Allen consistent? I
yeah,
thought he disappears.
I would say so.
He's
He
consistent
disappeared.
when he's good,
he disappeared
doing
for a
good.
consistent amount. A
And
consistent
then he
amount of time. I think it was
disappears.
4 weeks. He
It's
was
like,
consistently
all right,
bad.
Now
And
that
it's
I
like, I'm back on my
produced,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like in his fantasy football contract. It says, "I will get you points, but it's gonna."
I mean, the
Oh,
last
yeah,
he was what was he
It's
like?
not gonna come at all.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He was like 11th in points per game last year. So
That's misleading, though, because, I mean, he did have a few. He had a.
Costly games.
we
Was
think
it
he's
towards the
8th
back
overall
half?
receiver. So I don't know what else we're supposed to talk about here.
First 3 games, he had double digits. He had 22, 14, and 37. And then from weeks 4 to week 9, he did not have a single double-digit game. And he had 11 targets, 10 targets. That's notable.
Well,
So
that's promising.
he is consistent but inconsistent performance-wise, I guess you could say. But he's a consistently inconsistent performer. That's so contradictory it works. Keenan Allen is my number 3, speaking of which.
Close enough.
Let's hear about A.J. Brown at number 2, though, for Brandon, because that's I don't know. I'm questioning that one.
Questioning A.J. Brown at number 2. You're questioning it hard. You're not even questioning it, Ed. You're
Dismissing
I'm
the
not.
possibility.
don't even say you're
You're right.
questioning it when
You're
he's
right.
ranked at 8.
Well, I was questioning your ranking. I wasn't debating it in my head. There's no way A.J. Brown's top 2.
I mean, I understood what Ed was saying.
Yeah, so why?
A.J. Brown, I think he is the top receiver at that offense, and who's to say he's not the next big name?
Next Randy Moss, next Mike Evans, next
When he
Julio Jones.
becomes
growing
Mike
like 4
Evans
inches this
and Randy
offseason?
Moss,
Possibly.
he will be producing.
Oh.
He is still 23, so
For
it's
at the
definitely
moment,
possible,
he's
yeah,
at 2.
scientifically. Not gonna be number 2 for me.
I mean,
It's Sean
Juju
Hill.
Smith-Schuster.
I like Brown. I
like Brown too, but I don't think he's gonna.
Yeah, neither do I. But I mean, I have him at 4.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, say you have him at 4. You got DJ Chark, who has produced.
Me
with
saying I
Gardner
have him at 4 is me saying that I agree that I'm on board with him.
Word. Okay.
There's a lot
All
of
right.
good receivers, man. You're just kind of
There is a lot of
pissing
good
into the
receivers
wind
in this
here.
conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pissing in. I've never heard that reference. That's a good one.
I
Pissing
think
into
I
the
have
wind.
heard it.
That is different. Talk about pissing in the wind. It's like Juju Smith-Schuster last year. Pissed
Yeah,
and not going
Juju
to
at
Florida.
8 Juju has become one of those guys with me where I just have a bad feeling and I refuse to draft him.
It's understandable because I definitely question that offense. It's not the 2018 offense that we've seen 2 years ago when Juju finished as top 15 wide receiver, I think it was, something like that. But I believe in his talent.
in my head.
I mean, he is he's considered a slot receiver because he plays a lot of snaps in the slot. He's not, Cole Beasley or
Scares me.
Julian Edelman or anybody, but he's going to play a majority of his snaps in the slot. He is the best wide receiver on that roster by far. Like, there's no question about that.
Yeah, give it 2 years.
Who are you referring to then?
Deontay.
No, he's not going to progress like that. He's not going to progress like that.
Oh yeah.
I understand it. I
Show me your
respect it.
crystal ball.
My crystal ball is right here. It's right here. You can't see it.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
no, I
already
can't
showed
see
us this. Yeah, last few episodes.
Only fortune tellers can see fortune tellers' crystal balls.
All right, don't hate on
All right.
Deontay.
I'm not hating on Deontay. I just think Juju is a much more talented receiver. Would you be more ecstatic if we had Juju on our roster or Deontay Johnson?
Obviously, that answer is clear. That's why I said give it 2 years.
Give us 2 years.
I am afraid of Juju. Juju scares me. I can't handle it.
I think his contract year to steal. There's multiple reports that are coming out and saying that he might not be on the roster this year or next year, and all that hype is just going to get him, up there. It's Juju Smith-Schuster. He's not going nowhere.
Very well.
He's a talented wide receiver. He's going to be a top 12 wide receiver this year. Book it.
He scares me.
That's a bad take. I don't actually mean that take, so don't take it with sincerity. Take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of pepper, if you will. Speaking of which, you guys have DJ Chark fairly high ranked, and I like that.
I love
I
it.
like that.
I love the DJ.
But I don't like it at the same time. You want to know why?
The fuck, man? Thought we were together on this.
I'm a questionable person. Let's be real.
But
I do a few minutes of research before each episode because I'm a scholar out here and I research things. But very small sample size of Nick Foles last year. But when he played with Nick Foles, he outscored his points per game shifted about 5.5, 6 points with Foles compared to with Minshew, meaning he performed worse with Minshew, got less targets with Minshew. And Minshew was definitely they clicked at a nice rate last year, I guess you could say, with him and Minshew. Obviously not compared to Foles and him, but Minshew was top 5 in deep ball completion percentage last year. Now, yeah, sure, Keelan Cole or whoever the hell else was a deep ball receiver last year, but it wasn't D.D. Westbrook and it was DJ Chark. It was DJ Chark, let's be real. DJ Chark had 0 drops last year. Do you think that flawlessness is going to keep up? No.
I mean,
I expect him to translate
talent.
into a little more consistency week to week. That's why I have him so high. I think he's very talented, and I expect him to start to figure it out a little more.
I agree. I think he is talented. I think he's going to eventually become that off receiver. I don't think it's this year. It might be next year. But I don't know if Minshew's the answer there long term either. I don't even think Minshew's all that great, in my opinion. But as a quarterback, the defense is still ass. As I said earlier, I think it was about Leonard Fournette maybe, but defense still ass. They'll be passing a lot this year, and DJ Chark is going to be that receiver in Jacksonville compared to D.D. Westbrook, it's like a cartoon name actually, but I gotta say about DJ Chark. Brandon, what is your take on DJ Chark? You're pretty passionate about the man, ain't you?
Yeah, I like DJ Chark. I like what he was producing early in the season last year. He kind of became inconsistent, but I hope for with consistent quarterback play and not switching quarterback to quarterback, I'm hoping it coordinates to a more consistent.
Didn't he miss most of his rookie season?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so yeah, I mean, so you think, yes, last year was like essentially his first season of real playing time. I expect him to make that like second year jump.
it's fair. It's understandable completely, but I'm not banking on him being a top dog this year. I think he'll get to that status next year, but
He's
this
just
year
got such a great name.
he's on the verge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. The name, never heard of it before. Chark.
DJ Chark
Kinda last name.
was picked with the 61st overall pick in the 2018 draft.
Yeah, I
So
thought
he was
went
a
lower than that.
high draft capital pick. And
Relatively.
I mean, I think the talent is showing. He was injured his first season. Second season, he comes in. You said yourself, he had no drops. I mean, that's not a judgment on quarterback play. That's not a judgment on anything other than his hands and how good that man is. So
Yeah.
that's where I stand with DJ Chark. I respect his talent, and I hope that Gardner Minshew works out. And if not, which I don't expect him to personally, I kind of am on the same board with Ed. I hope they are able to bring in a high-profile quarterback to help propel DJ Chark even higher on my boards.
I think they'll grab one of those top 3 quarterbacks this coming year.
I hope so.
Maybe.
Alex, you say something?
I say, well, maybe. I've never looked at Minshew as really the answer. I always thought he was
Me
just.
neither.
He reminds me of like. I don't know who he
Sanchez.
reminds me of. He's just a stopgap. He'll probably bounce around a few places and be some other team's like mid-tier starter for a couple seasons.
Yeah.
He's got talent. He just doesn't have enough talent.
Like Case Keenum.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
He'll be pretty
All right.
solid. He'll be a great backup somewhere. He'll be an okay starter.
Yeah. Somewhat.
Somewhat.
Now,
Okay.
somewhat okay, yeah. If that makes sense. Now we got number 6. I have Odell Beckham. Alex has Cortland Sutton, and Brandon has Stephon Diggs. World full of change right here. Diversity, I guess you could say. This hurts me. You guys really have Odell Beckham down at 12 and 13.
Bye-bye.
To me, Odell Beckham from 2014 to 2016 and Odell Beckham afterwards are two different players. I think we have to stop looking at him like he's the guy that he was in his first 3 seasons, because he's, statistically speaking, he's not. He's not that guy. I think it's insane of us as fantasy players to keep expecting him to just turn into that guy again. It's every year we do this. Every season.
Is it every season? I mean, this is the thing, though.
It is.
This is the
It's
thing.
every
This is the
year.
thing.
For the
He
past
played
3 years.
games. He played 12 games in 2018. Still finished the wide receiver 15.
Yeah.
Then he played 16 games last year, sure, but as we said, he had a sports hernia, which is an injury you can't just look at and be like, it's not like put a rubber band on it, it'll be good. Like, no,
I'm not
no,
just
it's not like
dismissing that. That's a serious-ass injury he played
It
through.
is, and it was his first year on a new team, his first ever change in the NFL. That's
I
another.
think that was a
that's another thing.
positive change, though.
As far as a situation, yeah, I agree, but it's still a change nonetheless. I think this year we can expect. I don't know about expecting a top 10 finish from him or top 5 finish from him, but me ranking him as the wide receiver 6 in the AFC. I mean, there's definitely going to be 4 receivers better than him in the NFC, but I would still take him as a high, maybe mid-tier wide receiver 2, and that's all that I'm expecting from him, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It hurts to see Odell Beckham down there for you guys. It's just, man.
It don't really hurt me. I never really liked him in fantasy. Like, I know he was great at one point, but I never really bought in because I was always scared of the chance of injury, which proven he got hurt quite often. But, I mean, I respect the talent he has or once had. But, I mean, Stephon Diggs is at 6 for me because I think there is a talent finally in Buffalo. They have been trying to bring in wide receiver talent for years. with bringing in players.
John Brown was pretty good last year.
Attempting to bring in Antonio
He's not
Brown.
Stephon Diggs, so.
No, but I'm just saying
Who
he was
was
pretty
the
good last
last
year.
relevant wide receiver on the Bills?
John Brown. The guy
Steven
I just
Jackson.
named.
Beside John Brown. Different.
Stevie Johnson.
And he even wasn't a wow
Yeah.
receiver. If he was traded or went into free agency, he's not being picked up. Stephon Diggs is that. He's a star. And I think he's gonna get catches and targets, and I think it'll be more and better quality targets than a rookie quarterback.
Wait. Then rookie quarterback with who?
Joe Burrow.
What?
Comparing Tyler Boyd at 7.
Oh.
See, the thing is,
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I get what you're saying, but the thing is with that is Tyler Boyd's going to be a slot receiver, so his routes aren't going to be.
Yeah, I don't see
30
Diggs
yards
ever
downfield.
having massive volume.
He won't. And the I guess you could say the value. What the fuck is the word? The accuracy in the passes that he's going to be getting. Shit, it's top ass. I mean, the man's Josh Allen's deep ball completion percentage last year was 33%.
Yeah,
Or 30.
I was
33
going
in
to
the
say
NFL.
Diggs is I know he complained a lot about Minnesota. Just wait until he's trying to catch Josh Allen's passes, which may or may not land within 30 yards of him.
Accuracy rating was
I can't wait
35th
until
in the
that
NFL.
first deep pass where Diggs is like, I'm open, and Allen just throws it out of bounds.
Money throws to interceptable passes. He had 7 money throws, 15 interceptable passes. And I'm pretty sure that is worse than Kyle Allen's practically from last year.
Let's
Close
see how
to it.
happy Diggs is playing in Buffalo and start seeing that. He's like, oh, this is where I'm at now. That's cool.
That's why I'm questioning Diggs, and I'm not too high on him as people are like, oh, he's going to be the alpha. Sure, he may lead the team in targets possibly. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen, but also the quality of the targets that he is going to get is going to be pretty shitty. So
Makes you feel any better? I've been debating Diggs and Beckham, switching those two, pretty much since I listed them there.
So we have a change mid-episode?
For Brandon, evidently.
Evidently.
I don't
Brandon
change
is
my
good.
stuff mid-episode for the most part, barring that Ingram thing where I
I don't know
conceded
what
that
you
fine,
guys
I'll
are
put him on the
talking
list.
about.
Yeah, Brandon doesn't like Stephon Diggs either. That's
Stephon Diggs is at 8 for me, no longer 6.
This is valid.
Just
I
2
like
minutes
You
ago
two-
talked about why you like him over Boyd, but
Be
fine.
water.
You guys,
Bruce Lee.
made me aware of what I known all this time, but chose not to recognize when I was doing this particular rankings.
That makes perfect sense.
That
It does. I left Keenan Allen out the first time. I mean,
exactly.
we forgive.
Yeah,
people
going
too.
through these the first time was actually pretty funny. To see that and to see the DeAndre Swift thing,
Yeah,
Yeah.
DeAndre
that made me
Swift.
question reality for a minute. I was like, wait,
Yeah, DeAndre Swift is part of both conferences, supposedly, in my head.
how the fuck? You guys are predicting a trade. All right.
And he lands at 15 for me, DeAndre Swift, in the AFC rankings. So you know,
Wow.
if you
He's
needed
got
to
to
know,
be
that's
so good in the NFC that his points start to carry over.
They just
yep,
seep over.
it starts overflowing, spewing.
You're like,
All right,
wow, how did James Conner get credited for 2 touchdowns in a game he didn't play? Oh, it was Swift.
Swift, he got traded.
Mhm.
All right, let's get back on this AFC conference wide receivers page, and let's talk about Cortland Sutton. Now, Brandon, you said you were warming up to Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
Any reason why?
I personally like the fact that they got Jerry Jeudy.
That helps him a lot.
I
Yeah.
believe so too, and I like the threat of Melvin Gordon kind of being there. I think that's going to keep teams, defenses on their toes. I like the talent in this offense to the point where I think it will open big holes for each and every player on that team. And that's why Jerry Jeudy's 16, just a shout out for later on my rankings.
Understandable. I like Cortland Sutton a good bit. I just can't put him over Odell because, like I said, I think Odell is he's a god.
I put
Yeah,
a
he'll be a
lot
god
of
this
people
year.
over Odell. T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, you did.
and-
Jarvis
One
Landry,
of them.
Devontae Parker, T.Y. Hilton. Ugh. Speaking of T.Y. Hilton, let's actually just touch on him, I guess, real quick. I have him 11, Brandon has him at 9. Alex does not have him ranked.
He's no longer a receiver in the NFL.
I got scared.
What was that?
Scared.
If you remember back when we talked about T.Y. Hilton, like way back, I was pretty high on him. But the more I think about it, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, AJ Green is on the list. Like
It's understandable.
But T.Y. Hilton actually has played. AJ
Because
Green
he's tiny and he's old and he keeps getting hurt and Philip Rivers is throwing him the ball. He's just scared.
End over end passes. It's not great.
Like the more I think about it, the more like T.Y. Hilton's upside does not justify taking him to me.
I don't think I would take him. I'm saying. I
don't know if you can count on him to play. That's why I left him off the list. Like I look at these guys, I don't see a guy I'd want to take Hilton over. I like the potential upside of AJ Green.
Yeah.
I think if AJ Green plays, he'll play.
I agree. I still think Tyler Boyd's gonna be the leading receiver on that team, but
yeah, I do too. But if he's anything like he was the last time he played, he'll still be a very good receiver.
Speaking of somebody people left off the list, Brandon, you just left off Brandon Cooks. Do you not like him that much, or?
I'm glad we're talking about this particular topic.
What was that?
That was purposefully done.
Really? Let's hear it. Let's hear the dislike of Brandon Cooks to not even be ranked in the top 16, possibly the top 32 in the NFL. Let me hear it.
I don't like him.
Why?
That's it.
Too many
That's it. He has too many injuries.
The thing is, he's been really healthy lately.
Too many brain injuries.
The health is something that I have had to come to grips with, that he's been perfectly healthy lately. And I think the change from Goff, who is bad, to Watson will be a very positive one in his favor.
I agree. That's why I have him at 10. Put him over T.Y. Hilton because T.Y. Hilton looks like a little mouse with big ears. Sorry, T.Y. I don't think you're watching this. So it's not like it matters. But Marquise Brown is my number 12. I guess we can move on.
No. While we're on the topic of guys you didn't put on lists, explain to me why the fuck Henry Ruggs and Will Fuller are on your list and Devontae Parker, the number 7 overall receiver from last season, is not on the list.
Speaking of which,
did Parker die when you were making this list?
Parker died in my head, I suppose. My brain just another aneurysm, multiple aneurysms while I was doing these rankings. So if we're talking real, I'd probably take Henry Ruggs out, leave Will Fuller at 16, and put Devontae Parker at 15.
All right, that makes. I still think that's low, but it makes me happy that you recognize that you forgot about him.
Completely forgot about Devontae Parker. I apologize.
I understand forgetting about the AFC East because I remember pulling up the AFC East slides to look at it, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, very piss poor. Why didn't we include Rashad Perriman, Brandon? Like, isn't he like the best wide receiver since Mike Evans?
Not competing with these top 16, and like
I don't know, man.
The whole Brandon Cooks comment, like Brandon Cooks would probably be right after Judy, sitting at like 17. Like thinking about it, but
I don't like the idea of ranking Will Fuller.
I do because
it was hard.
He just doesn't play.
No.
But when he does, he straight balls.
I gotta rank the guys on the field though.
And AJ Green's the same thing. So
yeah, but AJ Green kind of just sat out a season.
An older player. I mean, he's a
star. AJ Green isn't consistently injured. I think AJ Green could have played last year, just decided not to because he's a rational human being.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I could play for this shithole of a team, or I could, not.
Speaking of Texans, I guess I could say this. I mean, not the last time, but Deshaun Watson, as far as his passing work, like I said earlier, I'm going to keep him up top as a quarterback in the quarterbacks episode. If you want to check that out, I talked about how I want to keep him up there as top 5 quarterback in the NFL in fantasy. It's because of his legs mainly, because last year, 13th in passing yards. That's kind of insane to think about. I thought he would be like in the top 6 maybe, but he wasn't throwing the ball that much. He was 16th in pass attempts behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, who played maybe 12 games, was it? Something like that. He's behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's behind Derek Carr, and he was behind Andy Dalton the pass attempts.
Those
Something of
last two
note.
don't surprise me because
I think Andy Dalton was
kind of
last year they did, yeah. And he was 10th in passing touchdowns as well. So, I mean, not saying that Deshaun Watson is a scrub as far as passing, but I don't think the volume's there as much in the offense. I'm still a little bit hesitant on Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks, but if Will Fuller goes down, that's why I have Brandon Cooks at 10, because I believe Brandon Cooks has the skill, the talent, just the ability to mesh with Deshaun Watson. There's going to be a receiver that does well.
There is a bigger
me.
ability that Will Fuller will get hurt over Brandon.
Yeah. Is Bill O'Brien in charge of their offense?
Yeah.
Okay, then I would like to take back my previous statement that I like him as a coach, because never mind, he's a horrible coach. How are you not going to have a high-volume passing offense when you have Deshaun Watson and your running back is Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde?
It's true, yeah.
I didn't know that. That's nuts.
It's also crazy they traded for Duke Johnson to rarely use him as well, which, I don't know. It's their personnel decisions, like I said, sometimes make sense.
Garbage.
But it's just, the running back position just baffles me with that team. They have David Johnson. You trade for Duke Johnson, okay? He's going to be a receiving back, sure. You trade a second-round pick for him or whatever the hell it was. Then you trade for David Johnson, who isn't strongly known for his running skills, for his receiving skills. But you just traded a second/third-round pick. I don't know what it was for Duke Johnson.
Did they trade that for Duke Johnson?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, that's what.
Maybe they thought it was David Johnson. They just.
No, I think they sent
Johnson. And they were like, "Oh my God, stop everything! We got an awesome trade!" And then I
think it was a third. They sent them a fourth that became a third if Johnson was active for 10 games.
And he wasn't.
He wasn't active for 10 games?
He was.
All right, so they did trade a third. Yeah. That is interesting.
It's insane because that's why the whole hype thing was there with Duke Johnson. And I understand it because he wasn't that bad in Cleveland, and then you go to an offense, it's actually an offense. But it's just weird that they trade for a receiving back, and then the following year you trade for another running back who has a huge salary hit.
Again, I don't think Bill O'Brien is actually aware of anything that he's doing.
He doesn't know they cost money. He just thinks they're freely working.
Salary?
Yeah, probably.
What?
Probably.
Hey, he walks into the coaching room. Hey, everyone, I just got David Johnson. Everyone's like, wait, what?
By the way, we don't have Hopkins
contract away? You don't have his contract, dude. No, we have to pay the whole thing.
We're paying? I thought it was for free.
No. This is David Johnson.
They were probably excited. They were like, oh, wow, we got a second-round pick for taking David Johnson's contract. And he was like, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Just the
anyway, where's DeAndre at?
That whole trade feels so unreal. Like it feels like it was a joke. Does. And like was Bill O'Brien.
I normally don't get mad at teams making bad trades. Like, oh, my team should have done that. Like, I think that's generally nonsense. But it really pisses me off that, like, with the need the Eagles had at the receiver position and, like, Houston's just out here handing out receivers. I don't think we were a realistic fit because we don't employ David Johnson. But it's like, really, you fucker?
Sure.
Like, you couldn't have called the Eagles and asked, like, hey, first-round pick for Hopkins.
Sure.
I'm normally against trading first for players, but Hopkins is.
Hear me out with this one, but Miles Sanders for DeAndre Hopkins. They spent a first-round pick on Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift. That would have been fucking nut right there.
You see, though, I wouldn't have even done that. I'd have just taken like a running back in like the second round. They could have taken Rager in the first, and are they still giving up this? Are they all right? What are they? Are we saying they give up like a third then? Because to me, they gave up Johnson in a second for Hopkins. Sanders has more value than Johnson, so we should only be giving up like a third or a fourth.
A third and Sanders, that would be.
Yeah, I mean, they could have taken like Rager and then like J.K. Dobbins in the second, and then they'd have Hopkins too.
Jesus, that would have been insane. Eagles, man, you got to get on this shit.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Eagles, I mean, next week we're going to dive into the NFC conference quarterbacks, tight ends. Then we got the running back. Then we got the wide receivers. So stay tuned. Check us out. First Choice Fantasy. Ed, Alex, Brandon, comment, subscribe, share, Brandon has a comment before we sign off.
This is a question. This is not a question, but just I want to show you guys the secret to life here. This is the last episode of the week, and I want to enlighten your guys' weekend. So, everyone, secret of life. Just close your eyes. Now, open them up. Look down your shirt. Now, take in a deep breath. Spell attic.
ADDICT.
ATTIC.
Oh, I thought you meant attic. Okay, actually, ATTIC. That's not
you.
right.
I heard
ATTIC.
addict as well. So Brandon, you have ruined your already crappy joke.
That's a bad one. All right, well, that's first choice fantasy.
Great. Howard PG-13.
Ah.
Rated R since the beginning.